Well, good evening. I'm probably going to regret this before the night's over. But I'm live, and boy, you're just going nuts at AMB all day. Egging D price on. What an idiot. A total idiot. It's Stockholm syndrome. It's totally, and they even got him to admit it, where he described exactly why he hated me and how he had learned that he should hate me. And well, let me back off. I don't want to be like getting into this like persistent misgendering with the person. I'm going to go neutral pronouns with the idiot at this point. It's just nuts, you know. You know, and it's total denial all the way around, and they're totally being played by cyber warfare specialists, completely being played by cyber warfare specialists. And he's on the set tonight, the one called Bucket. He's like he and Kevin Hoffman are two Toms, Tom Butler and Tom Madeira. One of them works in the Pentagon, and the other one works outside the Pentagon. And he's posted tonight, trying to join in. Let's see what's going on now. There's what. So anyway, they got Dave to admit D. They got D to admit that they had gone on a vendetta. They were very angry when I had run them out of my group on request from several people. And I had actually given them a chance to like edit their comments and get the insults out of it. Now he decided he's gonna insult me, and then he went running back to Kiwi Farms, and Feline Darkmates got hold of him, and that one's another Truscum. You know, one of these like hardcore transsexual, binary transsexual people. Oh, there's only two genders. Sorry. And they're telling the rest of us that we're mentally ill, and there they are. They're like not mentally ill, but they're so uncomfortable with their genitals that they have to get them like modified. But I better not go too far with that. Anybody here and talking yet? No. Yeah, that's about Everclear. and that's and I didn't even buy that long ago. That's more alcohol than I've had in you know, this I bought this about a month ago. I had a few Everclear pina coladas and a couple of Everclear Bloody Marys. You know, I'm sorry, but I'm what I am. I'm under no obligation to conform to anybody's anything, especially gendered behavior and clothing and all that kind of shit. They're trying to post some pictures of them in these feminine postures. Like, I understand that I'm not very feminine at all, but my heart emanates a female energy that people are able to detect if they know how to look past my skin. And I really don't have, you know, when my hair is brushed better and I'm better rested and not all dirty and shit, I pass well. I really do. I'm not trying to do anything but be myself naturally. Just be the best myself that I'm most comfortable with. And this is me. I've always been Tommy, and I've never been macho. I prefer the female role, and always have. Now, what kind of genetics is behind that isn't really important. This is more like a societal, cultural, cultural construct where my being and my brain chemistry came out more female than male, and has been recorded as that since as early as 1982 in a gender clinic that didn't exist in Dave's mind at U Texas. I participated in a study where I let them shoot me up with radio isotope tagged um, tritiated estrogen. I let them shoot me up with it, and then they had me piss in a jug for a week. And my brain chemistry, my brain hormone panel came back more female than male. And that's just the way I am. And to deny me is being an asshole. If you can't see a female here, I don't know what to say that besides that your standards are a little strange. I'm not a frou-frou woman. I'm more of a butch kind of person. Grew up in a farm and a factory. But anyway, back to the spergathon. Let's see what's going on. I was taunting Bucket. Let's see where Bucket's going. Yeah, they're trying. I have. This has been going on for 21 years. There's a very deep conflict of interest on the internet between the anonymous networks and those of us who have to have our contact information in public, and there always has been, because the sociopathic simpletons of the anonymous networks see it as an opportunity to rope somebody into a role-playing game, a real-time role-playing game without their consent, and fuck with them, troll the shit out of them, just for the fun of it, just to get the schadenfreude brush from their angry responses. And I'm especially fun because I'm very literate and creative with my insults. So I'm a lot of fun to piss off to these people. And then when you're somebody like myself, who's a dissident artist who's been at it for a long, long time, and they had to shoot me in the '80s to get me off the beach because they couldn't make anything stick long enough, and they couldn't intimidate me and drive me out of town that way. So they shot me. It's the only way they could get me off the beach long enough to bulldoze the tent city. The hippies had started, and they considered me the leader of the hippies, which I wasn't. I was just one of the hippies. I wasn't even the first one to put up a tent. I just got pissed because the cops stopped bothering the tweakers and let them keep their whole store up. And they had these sandominiums with sheets of plywood where they were cooking speed from stolen Bix inhalers. And the cops stopped bothering it. And here we were stashing our shit with our friends in their buses and stuff in the parking lot during the day and rolling it out every night. And I said, fuck this, I'm putting up my tent. And a bunch of us did that one night when it was like, hey, look, they're not bothering the tweakers. Let's just like set up our tents. And we did. And they couldn't, they just tried all sorts of shit. And they finally had to hire somebody to shoot me. Yeah, I'm a dirty hippie. Okay. But I'm no dirtier than, no, I'm not unusually dirty for a hippie. Not even a female one. But anyway, what was I talking about? I forget. And nobody's asking any questions. The phone line's open. I prefer not hearing from idiots. Or at least a creative one. I should make it a habit of putting this in my shit. Got some sticky keys because I messed them up. Keyboards are cheap though. Probably time for a new one. Oh no, I need one anyway for the other computer. The disc came today. We'll see if it's actually going to work. Oh, $5. Oh, we got so many. There's a lot of likes and shares on some posts. You get any comments? No. There's one. I probably should read this. This is the conspiracy theory of the day. Aye, aye, aye. So nobody's saying nothing. But that's okay. That's okay. Let's see. What these really raging? It's my favorite. Yeah, this person is just way too gone to even, just completely irrational at all times. This is just spurging his brains out. Yeah, it's pretty. That's pretty lame what it's gotten to with this asshole. This is the ringleader. Um, who's beating this dead horse, trying to like impugn my entire reality because I almost had sex with a minor 40 years ago and had a dog that liked to be masturbated, who's been dead for over 20 years, 25 years, almost 25 years. And yeah, I got rings under my eyes. There's fucking, 4 months of reporting on COVID with a gang of fucking sociopaths on my ass. Oh, my phone's off. Let me go deal with that. I just remembered that I left it in my bedroom. It probably the ringer's off. Yeah, the ringer's off. The ringer turns itself off. I have no idea how it does it. It'll be laying on my desk, and I'll turn the ringer up, and the phone will ring, and it won't make any noise. The ringtone's up, and I should have heard it. Try again. I'm watching it now. Let's see if this one's going to answer. Yeah, I've had I'm not gonna put up with any bullshit tonight, man. I mean, seriously. Oh, as a matter of fact, now that I see what's going on here, both of you, I'm not putting up with any bullshit from any of you people tonight. Goodbye. Yeah. Michelle Delaney show up here? Nah. I'm not in the mood for that. I have a strong reader base, people who are interacting with me like regularly. Hello. Yeah, I'm not gonna tolerate any. I'm not gonna indulge anybody's anything tonight. I have a nice buzz. I'm relaxed. I'm not in the mood to get all bent out of shape for anybody. Oh, here's what I was going to read. This is the conspiracy of the week. The massive federal mercenary force conspiracy. It's on Trump timestamp WordPress.com, and it was published yesterday. That video, I support that video. Yeah. I'm not putting up with any stupid. No, I'm just not going to put up with any stupid. I have friends and family, clients, fans, people who like really like my writing a lot. There are people who rely on me for information. And many people are just like trying to destroy my life with bullshit. It's fucking ridiculous. So anyway, the massive federal mercenary force conspiracy. I have no idea who this author is, a guy named Sean Rogan. I've heard that name before, though. Let's see what I can find out about him before I read it. Yes. Where have I heard this guy's name? Maybe he's a mercenary. That's whose name has popped up in the past. Who's like douche. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Oh, that's where I heard the name. He's a housing authority. Head of the housing authority got fired without an explanation a couple of years ago. So anyway, back to this massive federal mercenary force conspiracy. Oh my God, DHS's federal forces in Portland are actually mercenary forces hired from Eric Prince. That's a true fact. Well, I don't know this yet. We've suspected it. This is from a tweet by somebody named James Wear a Mask and Stay Home Away from Me Morrison. Jay Johnson confirmed on MSNBC the DHS cops are contractors. They're mercenaries. Yes. They're mercenaries supplied by Eric Prince, brother of DeVos, or someone named Russell Honorary. See the ZTI pats on this DHS government police in protests, Portland protests. ZTI is a private company of true wearing military uniforms. Oh my goodness. Yes, I do see the ZTI patch. Authorities to shoot and arrest citizens as stated by DHS Gov. Stop the bullshit media, do your job at MSNBC, CNN, Fox News Alert, Matt Al Haltman, and WNSC. This one was also retweeted by Seth Abramson before eventually walking it back and then deleting his ultra-excited thread altogether. Look, I know it's way more exciting to stitch together a kooky narrative that fits exactly what we want to believe. I'm also glad more people are picking up something I'm concerned about. How many, if any, of Protecting American Communities Task Force are private contractors? In the case of former Secretary of Homeland Security, as quoted in the first tweet, Jay Johnson actually said on Rachel Maddow, and I'm positive would have repeated this exact form of information on any other show. Also outlined in my second post on the subject, forces of DHS that have been deployed to the scene are first the Federal Protection Service, which is the component of DHS that reports directly to the Secretary, and its core mission is the protection of civilian federal property buildings across the country. Now hold that thought, because I got some interesting facts about the federal building in Portland that they're allegedly protecting and making proactive arrests of people suspected of intention to vandalize the building that's 20 floors of concrete and steel. It's been estimated that there's been approximately $30,000 worth of damage done to the building, and it would have been far cheaper to have brought in the power washer and some guys to replace the windows and cameras that were broken. But no, they got this whole force of mercenaries that they've deputized. These are untrained mercenaries they've deputized without training. I mean, I'm making this judgment as totally like supposition. This is inductive reasoning that is telling me that this is a hastily assembled force. They've got them housed. I mean, this is how hastily the force was assembled. This is a multi-department, multi-agency task force under the command of the Department of Homeland Security. Like he said, he's got the Federal Protective Service, he's got the U.S. Marshal Service, he's got the Border Patrol in there. And these people are clearly untrained in anything but brutality. There were two Naval Academy ring knockers that were both old-grade combat veterans who got separate calls in their heart to go down to the federal building and confront these guys about their oaths politely. And neither one of them knew the other. One was 10 years older than the other. And one of them was wearing the sweatshirt that they issue you when you swear into the academy. And it probably wasn't the one he actually got when he swore in, but you can't get him without actually being a ring knocker. And not the official one. I'm sure there's plenty of knockoffs. But anyway, they didn't know each other, and they both stood there politely asking these guys about upholding their oaths while these guys beat them with batons, sprayed them in the face with pepper spray. And finally, the one big guy just turned around and walked. He's standing there taking it, blocking the blows as best he can. If he busted his hand 2 places, he's going to need surgery to fix it. And then they sprayed him, and he just turned around and walked away and flipped them off with both hands. And the other guy took the same shit. And so like now every night, and it was starting before the feds showed up to do this, because really all that's been getting done, the Portland is not on fire, okay? Nowhere is on fire really, there are some hotter spots, like Atlanta where there's been fresh killings, but the protests are not widespread. The protests in Portland were winding down, and they were mostly orderly, but there were a lot of busted windows and graffiti on the building. And then they deployed these guys, and they're driving around. They're putting them up at a Marriott hotel, and they're renting these vans that they're driving around, kidnapping people in. They're taking them down to the federal. They're taking them into the basement of the federal building somewhere, some dark spot, and holding them for several hours, interrogating them, and then releasing them. Somewhere will be well away from where they were picked up, which is a total violation of their rights. completely outside the law because they're doing it away from the federal property. They don't really have any jurisdiction on the streets of Portland, and certainly not to proactively arrest. That's like proactive arrest. What are you, nuts? This is America. We don't do that here. And so now they have every night. Now they've got mothers in yellow shirts. They've got fathers with hockey sticks and leaf blowers to deal with tear gas. And now they've got a wall of veterans who are pissed off, insisting that this federal force withdraw. It's getting, it gets. They're probably right now is probably the demonstration going on. What's been happening is like they'll gather after dark on this plaza near the building, and then march to the building later, and then around between 11 and midnight things get stupid. And it really appears, and this has been happening all over the country, where white nationalist groups or cells. This is all cells. There's hardly anything that's really very well organized anywhere, I hope. But they're all doing all this terrorist stuff and trying to blame it on Antifa, which isn't even in Antifa's agenda. And they definitely don't have the resources to do some of this stuff. I mean, they're blowing off commercial-grade fireworks at a low trajectory over the crowd into the building, which is like a joke because the building's all concrete and steel, and glass, and it endangers the crowd. And when I asked one of the hemp activists, the guy who organizes the hemp festival out there, asked him what his feeling on it was. He said, "Can you say COINTELPRO?" And certainly, that's modus operandi for the feds has always been to infiltrate these movements. I don't think the feds have busted a terrorist plot since 9/11 that they didn't set up themselves. And some force, and it's the Trumpers, the people behind Trump, are seeking to spark a civil war so that they can implement full martial law, because Eric Prince and people like him have plenty of people willing to kill for money. I don't know where it's going to stop, but it's if we take the bait and we give them cause to escalate against us, it's not going to end well at all. I actually probably closed down some in the case of former Secretary of Homeland Security, who is quoted in the first tweet, Jay Johnson actually said on Rachel Maddow, "I'm positive would have repeated this exact form of information on any other show. Forces of DHS that have been deployed to the scene." Oh, well, we read that. Oh, throughout the internet, the Eric Prince mercenaries to Trump conspiracy theory is really gaining some momentum, including in both of the above threads. Unsupported conspiracy theories are the province of the cult. We don't do this. We refer to facts and use critical thinking to arrive at reasonable conclusions. That's what we do. These tweets are not back. Well, that's what I'm doing here. So we're checking this for credibility. We're not even close to that stage of dictatorship yet. The first apprehensions and injuries to civilians were only 21 days after Trump's EO. What's the EO? Oh, executive order. There is zero possibility a new outside force was hired, integrated, and deployed within any range of the time. Eric Prince hasn't been involved in Blackwater in over 10 years, even though he seems to represent, he still has some type of forces at his control. Blackwater was bought twice since their founding and is absorbed in Constellas. Exactly what he is currently doing is unclear, aside from being a one-stop shop for political operative, arms dealer, and provocateur. His talents are best used in the Middle East, Russia, Turkey, or any firmly established dictatorship. Is he still tangentially involved with Trump? Probably, but there is no way he is involved in PACT, which is, I guess, this and here, this is he's saying ZT1 is on the batch, not ZTI, and they're call letters to identify the wearer. If there are private no, I don't think these are private contractors. I think these are hastily hired people. That's what I think is going on. They're deputized. They're deputized. They can't be running around private contractors doing that kind of shit in America. You never know. I mean, like we literally elected a crime mob boss, president, and now we're feeling it. What the possible includes, private contractors doesn't make sense. No, this is more like the analysis I'm going with is that we're looking at the formation of the internal security police that dictators love to have. And he's doing it through Homeland Security, and Homeland Security is assembling this multi-agency pact. And really what's the cities, like Albuquerque and Chicago, both mayors wrote letters. Well, no, Lightfoot wrote a letter, and Shapiro gave an interview to NPR, spelling it out real clearly that they welcome the support of federal law enforcement officers who are working under the U.S. Attorney on violent crime cases. They need it. They want it. What they don't want is the ICE guys running around harassing people of color and immigrants all the time. And they definitely don't want them getting violent with unarmed demonstrators in their cities, but they do want the help with the gang-related shootings and stuff. I mean, in Chicago the other day, there was a drive-by shooting at a funeral, and in an old working-class black neighborhood. It wasn't even like it was the ghetto. It was, it was over by West 79th Street, Marquette Park area was where it was always the historic racial disturbances. This was a black-on-black gang thing where there was a funeral, and the mourners returned fire, and there were like 12 people shot at a funeral. And this is totally what happened in 1969, December 4th, 1969. Was it 68? No, it was 69. They broke into Fred Hampton's apartment where the Black Panther Party crashed and shot it all up. And that effectively destroyed the Chicago Party, which had been extensively involved in feeding people and getting, just benefiting the community. And they murdered them all, and flooded the ghetto with guns and drugs and these fake gangs. Because Crips and Bloods just came from nowhere, along with the guns and the drugs. That was like, that was what you call a manufactured opposing force, synthetic opposing force, where they had just created this mercenary army of dope dealers in the ghetto, and this is what we have today. They in the 60s and 70s, they killed off all of, we used to call it co-opt, interdict, or assassinate. The CIA, the Cocaine Importation Agency. And basically what they did was anybody who's got any charisma that was bucking the status quo too hard was targeted for co-optation, where they try to get the person to do shit that they wanted them to do. And if that didn't work, they'd try to interdict them and just prevent them. With me, it's preventing me from access to any kind of readership. They're just keeping me out, keeping my audience as limited as they possibly can, because they don't want the things that I know about and have concluded about what's happening in front of my face to reach a wider audience than I'm getting. They're trying to limit my audience by as much as they possibly can. This is okay. I don't care. I'm having fun. Not getting much audience tonight. Probably all idiots, since they're keeping quiet, because they know I'm just going to cut them off. It's back on. No, I didn't. I got this new swamp cooler today. Selling this little mini condensation cooler. It does okay. It doesn't hold much water. It does okay for like right around the desk area. It's just perfect for behind the computer, where it'll help cool the computer more, and behind the fan it's pulling cooler air. The fan just blows the air at whatever temperature it is, but this actually cools the air. But it's not good enough for the whole room, but it's perfect for the corner of the desk. I had been wondering from the time it became apparent that Trump was actually a contender and was going to get elected. It was obvious to us when Bernie got screwed that Trump was going to win. And as he started to build his cabinet around him in the summer and the fall, I figured, well, this looks like a casting call for a really bad end of the world movie. And sure enough, oh boy, it's like disaster bingo. The bunny Ebola. But anyway, I couldn't tell whether we were looking at a changing of the guard from the bushwhackers as Poppy Bush and his crowd died off and his kids were just total idiots. I think they, saying, well, maybe they're giving us this fresh idiot with a bunch of idiot kids. But as we go along, it's become apparent that the Zionists, the Christian and Jewish Zionists, have gotten behind him, and they're running the apocalypse ticket. That's what they're trying to do. They want the end days now. They want that big war now. While we've been distracted, the Zionists have been blowing shit up in Iran and Syria. That they should, they're attacking. They're just being totally flagrant about shit, blowing stuff up, and I guess the other day a fire buzzed a commercial airliner and caused some injuries because of the sudden change of altitude that the emergency maneuver that the airliner had to go through, I guess, or something, since some people got hurt. And here we are, the old hippies and nerds. That we've been talking about this for we've been singing the same song. We've been saying this is coming. Here we are. Shit's in the fan. If you ever wonder what you're gonna do when the shit hits the fan, it's here now. They beat up a historian the other day in Portland. Here's an interesting statement from somebody about a picture of, it says in this caption, "This is how democracy dies." A picture of one of these Z monsters, these numbered Z bots, grabbing onto one of the moms. And here's an opinion of somebody in the political junkies group. This shouldn't be a left or right thing. It shouldn't be a rich or poor thing. It shouldn't be a black or white thing. Anyone who is okay with what we are witnessing truly has no love for our nation or the principles it was founded on. In November, you can either vote for the people who are doing this or enabling it. Or you can vote at every level for the people who are horrified by it and want to stop it. That's the only issue that matters in this election. The only issue. I have to agree. I have to totally agree with that. Ooh, baby. This is a good group because it's got lefties and righties. Let's there was a shooting. The Not Fucking Around coalition went to Louisville to protest the Breonna Phillips, Taylor, Brianna, thing, and there was a shooting because there were counter demonstrators. Everybody was armed, and the cops were nervous. 3 people got shot. I probably should get some update on that. Well, I got my conversation starter badge in Political Junkies. I'm gonna delete that bitch. A double post or something. Okay, some professor who predicted 25 of 20 last 27 elections is predicting a 2020 win for Trump, which could well happen if we don't get the vote out, because like half the people don't bother voting, and if half the people don't bother voting again, Biden's going to lose. Well, this is silly. Because Trump ran unopposed in the primaries, pretty much. And this guy's putting it all in the primaries. And front runners lose in the end very often. But Biden's only showing a slight lead on the polls to say he's ahead. Oh, okay. Norpold is some guy named Norpold. He is conceding that the pandemic that has gripped the U.S. and the world and led to a near economic meltdown could swing the election to Biden if Trump's approval rating drops significantly. You know, he's saying that his approval rating could collapse. The guy's on the edge of fucking mental meltdown. This assumes that things aren't going to continue to deteriorate under his command. That's the only way that he can possibly win at this point, is that he actually stops the deterioration of the domestic tranquility. That's gonna no. The more his goons beat people up in Portland, the more people aren't gonna want to vote for him. I can't see America, a clear majority of Americans wanting anything to do with this. I just don't see that. Although I do see plenty of right wingers cheering him on and justifying it with all kinds of bullshit about rioting, which isn't what's happening, because the rioting is almost exclusively the white nationalists trying to incite civil war. The looting has mostly been opportunists that had nothing to do with the protests, and all the really serious, vandalism, fires, and big busted windows, and busting out security cameras, and all that other happy shit. That's the Wasisus. That's the fat takers. Well, we're up to 8 people now. Somebody say something. I like just jibber jabbering. God, they've just been spurging nonstop all night, all fucking night. Westford Cake's been at it since 9 o'clock this morning. Just constant. Hasn't done anything else but yell at me all day. Oh, I stopped to make a mango milkshake. So they're posting this riot control thing and thinking that they're really here. And then some other idiot just posted a picture of a guy in a police suit from a movie. What is his other one? I probably should cut it off since nobody's interacting with me and get to. Oh Jesus! What am I looking for? Sick fucks. I'm not gonna indulge it. Ah, fuck! I missed it. Shit. Oh well. I was gonna go to a play tonight. It happened while I was distracted. Yeah. Since all I got is idiots here tonight. Oh, Israel. Good evening. They've been busy there at AMB today. Really touring it, getting D to kick it out. D's been going at it since 9 o'clock this morning. Here's his latest. Well, this is between oh boy. They're um they're putting her on me in this one thread. And she just kept taking it. She just kept taking the bait. Here's this. She's going at it with Nomad mostly. This is Michael Osborne. He's Air Force grunt, bomb loader, truck driver. Real fucking chicken shit. Bisexual. He likes the bottom. Here's like, really, Mud? You must have had too many dicks stuck in your mud hole, then transferred to your mouth because you're talking shit again. It is clear that I know way more about science than old man dog fucker. Hey, I see you're attracted to old Tom. You want Tom to mount you and call you Sabrina, huh there, Mud? Do know that I do have a comprehension of science that has even been noted by others who do not know of this place. And he's come back. It's as much as Tom has spouted about Dunning-Kruger. It's funny that he hasn't pointed out the fact that you wallow in it gleefully. My response to that is because it's so far gone in the head, there's no point in even opening its post most often. So here's D coming. Mud, again, I know a lot about science. That is a fact you will never get in that pinhead. And I'm not gone to the point is you do not know science. You have no clue about science. Well, I earned a Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry and Marine Biology. Only one tard here, and well, bucket it is, Tom. As for me, I am not getting tard wrangled. I do not call the police. You're the one that started it with the Aiken police. I do not have a need to. If there is a problem and they are needed, the alarm company will let them know. And Nomads, that's the point of Dunning-Kruger. You're so convinced you're a genius that you're incapable of knowing what a complete total fucktard you are. So, and here comes again. Retard, I am Mensa. That is a feat that most do not accomplish. I know more about science than most of you. You still have not gotten that the posts I have made are on the mark peer-reviewed science. And you don't not have to tell it. You don't get it if you have to tell people you're a badass or not. More intelligent than you, that's for sure. I have no clue about these. I'm sure you have no clue about these space. You obviously do not have a grasp on medical science. And here comes Soil doing something and something I have to get translated. Let's see what he's into. I mean, they just been at her all day. She's been spurting her brains out all fucking day. Just totally provoking her. He's telling her she doesn't even know her own language. So Nomad's next comeback is, I do get that the only thing emptier in deep space is the space between your ears. That's motherfucking science, bitch. No, that is idiocy out of a mud hole. But then I'm sure you have never looked through a telescope in the 5-meter class. You do not get that no one gives a shit about all this random meaningless bullshit you brag about. It's as meaningless and as irrelevant as the rest of your existence. Okay. Let's see let's see where the current spurg is. Oh, and the idiot started. Old Tom, the fake trender, is crying on YouTube about AMB again. I'm laughing at YouTube about AMB again. I've hardly coughed tonight, you fucking idiot. And it's getting late. I'm getting to where I can pass out. I smoke weed all day. And yeah, I'm a dirty hippie. I don't give a fuck what you think about my pigsty. That's my coping mechanism. Why don't you tell them why don't you tell them how I raped a child and fuck more dogs than are in the city pound at any given moment, because I never have. Fucking idiot. Wait a minute. My week. What week is this? Oh, it's Saturday. Mostly uneventful, actually. I'm doing what I do. I've been doing a lot of writing and been playing a fair amount of music. It's too late to, yeah, it's not too late to make some noise. I'll make a little noise for a little while. Yeah, Dave, I don't know what's going on, but they've been totally. He admitted, they admitted. I'm not going to get into this like meanness. I'm not going to call him a her, but I'm not going to get into meanness that they're getting into me. They've really been pushing their buttons hard since I threw him out of my group. This has been going on. They've been grooming him. Her, them, Dave, D. And I got a screen cap of it, them admitting to it, where it stated very clearly that they're angry at me, and Feline Maids directed them to all these videos that they say I'm admitting to being a pedophile and dog rapist, where I'm not. And very few people, it's like, how do you even arrive at that from what I say? Really distorting the truth hard from my actual accounting of the event. Before it gets to that, I want to blow a little bit. He's playing games with me a little bit. Yeah, I'm a grubby old hippie stoner. So what? You wanna fuck or fight? Yeah, I'm a totally old school hippie. We're gross. We're goofy and gross. And dirty. Don't usually smell bad though. Hippies like to keep smelling decent. Um, and I'm not claiming to be a woman. I make no claims. I'm stating that I prefer that people relate to me as female. That's all. And if you can't see my female heart, you can't see past my skin. You're lost. I have I love to make people laugh. Um, that's I always like to make people laugh, but not a, I'm not cruel. Comics don't good. The best comics don't punch down, and every single one of these assholes punch down. They're not funny. They're not. It's not at all funny. Because you're punching down. I got people talking to me. Excuse me. Yeah, the conspiracy nuts are going wild over who the American Gestapo really is. I'm still, oh, that's why. God damn, today I forget I slept in. I'll probably shut this down. I got something I need to write. And I look like a fool sitting there typing. Not really feeling it. I don't like playing sitting down. I always feel like I'm holding my arms too close into my ribs. Oh, I had to buy water. Something in my water getting me sick, and nobody's responding to it. Landlord, water department, nobody. And I go through at least a gallon a day. And I have no way of getting it here, except in my little old lady shopping cart. Yeah, let's see if we can see the little old lady shopping cart with the last bottle of water in it. Yep, sure can. There it is. All right, so Oh, good. That wasn't a cigarette. I found myself chain smoking weed today. It's like, whoa, I better not do that. But, you know, I was talking earlier when I first started out. I'll finish with this because this is where it's at, and it always has been where it's at. And then now I'm a performance artist. When I'm talking about certain things, I'm meticulous and honest. Other things, I will fictionalize for effect. I'm not sure where to say I draw the line. What I do say is the only time I willfully lie is when I know there's going to be a fight if I tell the truth. So, so if saying yes is going to get me punched, I'll say no. I have no reason to lie about myself, or anybody I know, anything I've experienced. I have no reason to lie about this. A lot of times, most often, I'll tone things down because what really happened is just so fucking unbelievable. And I don't blame everybody for my misfortune. I understand that my parents were innocent of forcing me into the male gender role. And they understand now that my behavior was pretty inevitable by forcing me into the unnatural gender role. And this idiot, I don't know how, I've known a lot. I know a lot of transsexuals. I know a lot of queers. I'm part of the advocacy network. I know a lot of queers, a lot of different kind of queers. We're about the full inclusion that everybody expresses themselves. Let me finish with this rap. It's like the whole thing that this person is expressing is so repugnant to the entire LGBTQ movement. Here's somebody with a medical issue related to their sex who is trying to impose their vision of the binary brain, which has never been conclusively shown to be anything but a mosaic of parts that are programmed to be either masculine or feminine. There's no completely all male brain or all female brain. It just has, it's not what's there. And that masculinity and femininity express on a sliding scale, and some people's sex doesn't match your gender. And and this is a nature and nurture thing, that we're born with the genetic potential for same-sex attraction and for gender variance or heterogeneity. Being okay. Well, where's this at? When do you realize that you're cisgender and heterosexual? I don't know. First time you decide that you're okay with being the boy that your parents tell you that you are. Because for me and many others like me, as we first realized there was a problem when we were told that we couldn't be the girl we thought we were, or we knew we were. And we're born with these, but it's your gender role, your gender identity is genetic. Your gender role is a cultural construct. then that's based on the behavioral norms and the norms for grooming and standards of dress and dress code and hairstyles and all that happy shit. And that's like not universally agreed on at all. And it's constantly changes. I like to remind the American armed and inbred folk that our founding fathers were a bunch of poofers that wore tight pants and high heels and wigs. So everybody is what they is, and you're either kind or you're not. You're a nice person or you're not. And I'm a nice person, and Dee is not, and Dee is in denial that they're not a nice person, and they're trying to convince the whole world that I'm evil because they were lied to. I'm having mouse problems. I can hear them. So, I'm Tommy. My pronouns are she and her, please. And you can either respect that or not. And in today's society, people who willfully disrespect another person's gender identity is nothing more than an asshole. And this is very difficult for me with this transsexual person being so vicious, calling me Tom and sir and dirty old man, nasty faggot, and all sorts of. It's like it's very difficult for me to be gracious in any way. Talking about it, talking to it. This is not a human. This is not an appropriate human behavior. That I don't think I see no constructive outcome from interacting with it. I just don't see it. And it's let's see. We'll close up with hour and a half is plenty of this, and nobody's really chit chatting. Let's see what. Five minutes ago was their last still going at it with Nomad. That idiots. That hobo with the cardboard box told him it was just an allergic to my doctor. You hear that? Actually, I'm pretty dry right now. You haven't heard me coughing much. Having the humidifiers probably helped quite a bit because it's got filters in it and it's blowing cooler air with some humidity to it. But for that, that was a productive cough. That was just got up a goober. And I swallow them usually because it's too difficult to spit it out anywhere. Does not damage lungs. I'm sorry, I hate to disappoint you all, but I don't have damaged lungs. I have chronic upper respiratory issues due to particulates. And believe whatever you want. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And if you want to argue that, go talk to Beth Training. Oh, he's got COPD. And so they tell you, no, you're full of shit. So what else are spurring about? This was 8 minutes ago. He was watching. They were watching the stream. They don't have the nerve to come on the stream. I shouldn't invite them. That training's going to love being referred to as a hobo in a cardboard box. My doctor is got 30 years experience in gender therapy. And she's way cool. She's real crusty. A lot of fun. Her assistant's a really nice guy too. Well, let's see what else is going on about. Oh Jesus! They have a new nut. This is not a woman. I don't think. This is shitball Sharon telling her story. Well, there's not much to tell. I was always a hard-drinking, hard-living kind of gal. I hung around the bars and clubs most of my life until recently. I like my whiskey the way I like my men, hard, straight, and with a water bag. I was never without a smoke. Men used to say my mouth tasted like an ashtray, and my pussy also tastes like an ashtray as well. Not sure why that is. But that's what they used to say. They were up and drunk, and sometimes they would pass out before they could put one in me, if you know what I mean. This is why I never had any children. More than a couple of this is not a woman. More than a couple of guys puked in or on my downstairs lady parts area. Not a great feeling, let me tell you. Who the fuck calls it a downstairs lady parts? Not a great feeling, let me tell you. They always said it was because they were drinking. Not that my puss smelled of a broken toilet on an abandoned tuna boat in a Mexican marina. This is not a woman. I like to believe they were telling the truth. I mean, I know some crusty women. But this is not a female. I love to smoke. Did I mention that? Loved it. I'm not going to lie. If my vagina did taste like an ashtray, I wouldn't be surprised. I had all the swag from cigarettes companies like the Joe Camel jacket, the Merit ultralight bag, and I was close to getting the Marlboro car. I was really out of control of smoking, drinking, and getting dicked down. That's not a woman. After my tracheostomy, I had to give it all up straight. Give it all up, though. I can still smoke through the hole in my neck, but there's no joy in it anymore. It's hard to find a man who doesn't want to stick his dick in the hole in my throat, so I just stay home now. And with the pandemic and everything shut down because the stupid governors don't get me started. No. That is not a woman. I'm sorry. And here comes Dee's sad tale. Some stories you do not want to hear. Some are too painful to hear. Some too abusive to forget. Some come with a phrase that is burned into the abused person's head. Others are just sick, perverted crap. Thomas the Pervert's admissions. I don't really admit to much. And I get a lot of respect for being open and honest about these things. For most people. Most people don't pay any attention to it. It's that petty. So mine is horrible and painful and has that phrase burned into my memory. You better knock that girl shit off or you will be really sorry. Well, I never got to that stage. So I took it at, well, girls don't have penises and boys only cry when they bleed. And if you want something to cry about, I'll be glad to beat the crap out of you. So I shut up about it. And I didn't go around mincing and being all girly. And I just, was as much of a boy as I needed to be to get by. And here you are still mincing and trying to convince people that you're a girl. And I'm just stopped pretending to be a boy. And my life's okay. I'm good. I mean, yeah, I'm a dirty hippie. Okay. Yeah, my food looks like slop, but I'll bet it tastes better than what you make. And I'm definitely not impressed by pink slime. Yeah. Oh, well, I use $9 a pound steak to make my fucking taco, my nachos. Because I don't give a fuck. I don't eat that stuff. In fact, I just showed some beef earlier. It was like, wow, man, that's like all fat and gristle. It's like I wouldn't eat something a little striped. Japanese shit, those stripes. God knows what the expensive thing to give it. It looked like I wouldn't eat it. I probably have $40 a pound stuff too. Most have no idea. I do not talk about it a lot. I started when I was 3. Several times I nearly died from it. Sometimes I wish that they had succeeded. I remember begging that sky fairy to let me wake up a girl or not at all. I always woke up. Yeah, well, and then here I am, 65 years old, still doing it. And, just okay, whenever you get around to it. So it was not a sky fairy for me. I'm tuned into the powers of the universe. The goddess energy enters me through my feet, and the God energy enters through my heart. And I'm Tommy, and I deal with it. And I have a lot of friends who are like all different names and dealing with it too. And they're nice people. They're fun to be with, and I'm happy to be on the planet with them at this time. And it's such a crazy time. I mean, I can't think of better company to be in than the company of my family and friends right now. My father and I made peace like 2 years ago, actually, and I think now that he's had to come to grips with his own mortality now, that I think we finally come to some understanding about my early years. My sister and I are communicating well. My brother's trying, but not hard enough. I have numerous friends who consider themselves to be close friends that I spend a lot of quality time with that you can't see it. We don't do that in public. You don't even know who most of them are. I mean, outside Ariana, you don't really have any idea who any of them are. But I've got a number of very good friends that I spend a lot of quality time with on the phone or video conferencing or just chit-chatting. And I have very strong and growing reader base. I mean, I'm really pleased. They're trying to keep me contained. I think it was Israel's word. They're trying to keep me contained to Facebook and YouTube. They don't want me getting beyond where they can keep some control on my audience. I'm playing in the chicken lane. I'm standing on the principles of the Torah and the Constitution, and have been all my life. This is the way I was educated. No, that's funny. For me, what will happen is like I'll challenge the notion of a left winger, and I'm automatically a Nazi. And I'll challenge the notion of a right winger, and I'm automatically a communist. It's like, no, I'm an anti-fascist, constitutional, fair trade. I'm a fair trade capitalist. Is what my political and persuasion, your socio-political economic, socioeconomic persuasion is constitutionalist, anti-fascist, egalitarian versus authoritarian governance is what I feel committed to. So, we the people have our own individual will to create, and nobody else has the right to impose their will on us violently without our consent. And violence doesn't have to be physical contact, mental, verbal violence. Gaslighting is violent. It's passive aggressive violence. So for me, it was my ancestors. The God and Goddess never gave me better answers than yes or no. But I don't hear voices. I feel pain or pleasure through my feet or my heart as messaging. And in a dream state, I will have contact from other beings that include their face, not just the voice. This doesn't happen in a waking state at all. I have no voices tormenting me. We're just we're transceivers. We're like these little biological transceivers, self-contained, self-activating transceivers. We send and receive clear light and thought energy. And not all. We don't generate all the thoughts that we have conscious perception of. And this is something that philosophers dealt with throughout the ages is, well, where does this thought come from? Is it coming from inside ourselves, or is it in the ether and our brains are receiving it? Well, it seems it's both. That we do generate our own thoughts, and this is our body responding to the energy that enlivens it, that we get from the earth and the sun. And there are thoughts in the ether that we pick up on, but our body is it's like, picture yourself plugged in to between your spirit. Your body's finite, but your spirit is infinite, and your spiritual body's got it's one. Your feet are plugged into the earth, and your head's plugged into the sun. And that's us. We're eternal creatures living in mortal flesh. So for me, this is just short duty as far as my spirit is concerned. And I'm left to wonder, like, what my ancestors did. Because I deserve this for the generational karmic payback. It's like, well, what the fuck did one of my ancestors do that I got born like this at this time? I don't know. I don't care at this point. I've lived a good life. It's been difficult. It's not been materially abundant. But it's been rich in experience. And I know just so hundreds of people over the years, thousands of people over the years cross paths with. I've learned so much from. And you know, this is where my head's totally at, and I think this is wind down time. It's just people are just. This is just sad. Um, this is just sad. This the whole reality. That's been going on since 9 o'clock this morning. But I need to close that. See if anybody said anything. No, nobody said anything. But you're either nice or you're not. And I have no use for people who aren't nice in my life. It's just not worth any effort at all. And so, thanks for coming. Happy day. Bye.